Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dane, your host. Hope you're doing great wherever you may find yourselves. Blessings to all, and welcome to another episode of What Every Artist Has in Their Discography, where I talk about, instead of the stereotypical, proverbial, or cliched, the good, the bad, and the ugly part of a band or artist discography. I expanded from 3 to 8 categories: the one that got popular, the experimental, the fan favorite, the cult classic, the best album of all time, or the GOAT, the meh, the underrated gem, and the one that is atrocious. Again, keep in mind, these are just my opinion, and if I think something is the one that is meh, you may consider it underrated gem, that kind of thing. So just, again, an opinion. Today's band of choice is Judas Priest, and dealing specifically only with the Rob Halford era, no Tim Ripper Owens. Okay, so let's get started. In my opinion, which is the one that got popular? Painkiller comes to mind for me. Here are the tracks: Painkiller, Hell Patrol, All Guns Blazing, Leather Rebel, Metal Meltdown, Nightcrawler, Between the Hammer and the Anvil, A Touch of Evil, Battle Hymn, and One Shot at Glory. A couple bonus tracks here, which I won't read. But I know people love this album. It's very popular among Judas Priest fans. I like much of what's here, but some of this, for me, has a little bit or quite a bit left to be desired. And I can't remember who said this, but I remember watching a video years and years ago, maybe 6 years ago, maybe less, not sure, but someone said, or maybe someone posted a comment, not quite sure, so long ago, sorry, I can't remember, but someone said that the only reason this album got popular is because the two releases before this were so disappointing. Turbo, Ram It Down, right? I could see that as a justification as to why this got popular. For me personally, I like it better than those two albums, way better, but it's still disappointing. And part of the reason is because Halford changed his vocal styling quite a bit. It has a touch of that Screaming for Vengeance, and what I mean by that is the high-pitched, amazing high-pitched wailings from Halford on that title track, but at the same time, it's missing something. It doesn't have the same oomph to me because it's too much of it, maybe, or it just doesn't sound exactly like that. It's too much the way Halford sounds in Fight, I guess, is my problem. So I love the high-pitched stuff. Always love that stuff. Dissident Aggressor, that kind of thing. But it just doesn't, it's not as captivating, and I can't put my finger on why. But there's much to like here, but also for me, much that is a bit disappointing. So, but again, this is the one that got popular, so I'll give people that. All right. Experimental comes to mind. Nostradamus. This would be much better if it was a single release instead of a double. There's some really cool stuff here, actually, but it's weighed down by the filler tracks or the pieces that are like segues. It just doesn't work overall. Again, needs some editing. I like the attempt. I like the effort in wanting to do a concept album because they had not done that before, but it just doesn't work totally. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. So very experimental. Again, appreciate the effort. Great album cover. Love that. Some good music here, but not great music. Fan favorite, British Steel. You got some hard rock here. You got some hard pop rock, if you will. And what I mean by that is the song, now I can't find it, Living After Midnight. And Martin Popoff, the music critic, has described this album as a Kiss record, and I disagree. The only song to me that sounds like a Kiss song would be, I could see Kiss singing Living After Midnight, because it's a party song. But other than that, Rapid Fire and Metal Gods is pretty heavy, if you ask me. Breaking the Law is commercial, but it's still heavy. Grinder is heavy. United's an anthem, so that may be the Kiss thing that he said maybe. You Don't Have to Be Old to Be Wise is kind of cool. It's not heavy, but it's not a Kiss song. It doesn't sound like a Kiss song. The opening guitar is amazing, if you ask me. And then the Rage and the Steelers is quite heavy. So it's a great record, if you ask me. So this is not a Kiss record. Anyway, British Steel, definitely a fan favorite. For a lot of people, this is when they became Judas Priest. Make of that what you will. I'm not sure if I buy into that. Cult classic, Sad Wings of Destiny. The second album I ever heard from them. Yeah, it's very unpolished and rough around the edges, but I think it's a great album. Prelude and Tyrant. You have the opening, piano in Prelude that morphs and warps into Tyrant, and you get that killer riff, dun 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 dun, right? And then Behold, it's great song. And then Genocide, much of that greatness of early Judas Priest, if you will, Halford showing us his vocal wares. It's great. Epitaph, coming down the vocal register to that deep baritone that Halford engages in from time to time. I think it's great. I did not like the song when I first heard it. It was a shock to my ears after hearing this, but I love it now. Island of Domination, I think, is an underrated classic, if you ask me. I think it's very powerful. The guitar is amazing. Victim of Changes, the highlight, perhaps, of the album. One of the highlights, definitely, for me. My second favorite song here. Very deep purplish in the sense that it's got the light and shade and a gradual build-up. Two songs combined into one, coming over from the Al Atkins days. Then the short and sweet, heavy song Ripper, great song. Dreamer, Deceiver, and Deceiver, I count these as one track, really. Light and shade, that slow build-up. It's a light and shade song in the sense that it's a Stairway to Heaven like, in the sense that the first part is the acoustic slow bit and then winding up to the heavier part. So, and Dreamer, Deceiver / Deceiver is my favorite song on this album. All right, the greatest of all time, argued by many, and this is my favorite. Screaming for Vengeance. This is where I came in. This is a great album from start to finish. This is their magnum opus, if you ask me. You get the great, compelling, gravitational pull of a sound, goosebumpy. The Hellion, which is the introduction to the wonderful Electric Eye, so prophetic, so heavy. And then the heaviness just continues, pummeling you with the opening drums from Riding on the Wind. And you get this wonderful vocal barrage from Halford. And the whole band is just amazing here. And then Bloodstone, a different type of song, more of a low tempo type song, and it has some heavy riffs to it, but it's much more dark and moody. Then you get the wonderful Take These Chains, kind of a power ballad, but not a power ballad. Great vocal delivery from Halford, just an overall great song. Pain and Pleasure, like Bloodstone, more of a slow moving song, but it delivers the goods, pun intended. It's a great song. You give me pain, but you give me pleasure. Get out of my mind. That's great. Screaming for Vengeance, the title track, is my favorite. This is some proto, if not downright thrash metal from the band. Halford never sounded better in that high register, if you ask me. Production from Tom Allen here is fabulous. You've Got Another Thing Coming, the hit off the album. Never gets old for me. I love it. Then you get the wonderful Fever, which I think is an underrated masterpiece of a song. And then the wonderful Devil's Child, almost back to the same quality level of high-pitchedness, if you will, from Screaming for Vengeance, but not quite exactly the same. Devil's Child I see as kind of a segue between Screaming for Vengeance and the song Painkiller, if you will. Great album, my favorite. Then we have the Meh album, and that would be Turbo. Turbo Lover's kind of cheesy. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. Locked In, I think, is fabulous. Private Property is just god-awful Hades, 80s cheese. Same thing for Parental Guidance. Just way too commercial, these two songs. Rock You All Around the World. We Don't Need Another Anthem from the band. Out in the Cold is fabulous. Kind of an epic track from the band. Got some keyboards. I like it. Wild Nights, Hot and Crazy Days. That could be a Kiss song right there. I think Crazy Nights, right? This Hot for Love's okay. Reckless I can do without. And then, yeah, this is not a very good album. To me, this is almost atrocious, but it's not quite there. This is an underrated gem. This is the Dark Horse. This is really heavy. Exciter, White Heat, Red Hot is just so heavy. It's great. Better By You, Better Than Me, the Spooky 2 song is wonderful. One of the greatest cover tunes of all time in rock history, if you ask me. Stained Class, the title track, is fabulous. Then you get the quasi-pummeling of Invader and Saints in Hell. Saints in Hell is at high register from Rob. It's great. Savage is an underrated gem, if you ask me, of a song. And then my favorite track on here is Beyond the Realms of Death. You got the light and shade, but the not first half is light, second half shade. It's the back and forth between the light and shade, which works so well. Very depressing song if you listen to the lyrics, but moving, goosebumpy, tragic storytelling, but cathartic as well. And when Rob goes into the heavy, high-pitched vocals, it's just dynamite. And then Hero's End, I think, is a great way to end the album. I think this is also an underrated track as well. Anyway, this is an underrated masterpiece. Finally, Atrocious, Ram It Down. Gets a title track, not impressed. Heavy Metal's a good song. Love Zone and Come and Get It, I can do without. Hard as Iron is cheesy as cheesy can get. Blood Red Skies, 2 thumbs up. I'm a Rocker's okay. Johnny Be Good, I don't understand what we're doing here. Love You to Death and Monsters of Rock doesn't do much for me either. I think this is pretty god-awful. You got 2 really good songs here in Heavy Metal and Blood Red Skies. Anyway, short and sweet video, if you will. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye now.